Chains of the Silent Shore. Long before the sea learns the taste of tears, the village of Kobiri woke each morning to drums. The drums spoke of harvests, weddings, births, and warnings. They echoed through palm trees and red earth, carrying news faster than feet could run. Children learned their rhythms before they learned their names. Elders said the drums were the village's second heartbeat. On the night the drums fell silent, everyone felt it. A strange stillness hung over the land. Dogs whimpered and refused to sleep. The moon hid behind clouds as if ashamed to watch what was coming. Far beyond the farms and shrines, shadows moved where shadows should not move. They came just before dawn. Not spirits, men. Men with unfamiliar tongues. Men with fire that spoke louder than drums. Men guided by traitors who knew the forest paths too well. The attack was swift and confusing, like a nightmare that didn't wait for sleep. Huts burned, people ran, names were shouted into smoke and never answered. When the sun rose, Kobiri no longer existed. Those who survived were tied together, ankle to ankle, wrist to wrist, by ropes that bit into flesh and pride alike. Among them was Sewa, a young blacksmith whose hands had once shaped iron into tools for life, not chains for death. Beside him walked Abeni, a woman whose voice used to lead songs during moon festivals. She had stopped singing. Her lips were pressed tight, as if holding her spirit inside so it wouldn't escape. No one knew where they were being taken. They walked for days, sometimes weeks, through forests that no longer felt protective, through villages that shut their doors and turned away, through silence broken only by sobs and commands backed in foreign accents. Those who fell were not helped. The living learned quickly not to look back. At night, Sewa whispered stories to those close enough to hear, not stories of hope, but of memory, of who they were before the ropes. He believed that forgetting was the real death. When the smell of salt reached them, some thought it was freedom. They were wrong. The sea stretched endlessly, terrifying and beautiful. Beside it stood a stone fortress with narrow windows like watching eyes. The locals called it the place where people vanish. Inside, darkness ruled. Men and women were separated. Families were torn apart with hands that showed no hesitation. Names meant nothing here. Only numbers, only strength, only silence. The nights were the worst. The air was thick with fear and waiting. People whispered prayers to gods who felt very far away. Some carved symbols into the walls with broken nails, desperate to leave proof that they had existed. Abeni scratched a single word into stone: remember. When the iron door finally opened, the light blinded them. They were marched onto a wooden monster floating on water. Its belly was hungry. It swallowed bodies by the hundreds. Below deck, space disappeared. Time lost meaning. The sea rocked them like a cruel lullaby. Groans mixed with prayers. Some voices faded forever during the crossing. Sewa counted heartbeats to stay sane. Abeni stopped speaking altogether. Yet, even there, beneath the weight of despair, resistance lived. People hummed quietly, passing strength through sound. Elders taught children stories in whispers. Strangers held each other's hands in the dark, refusing to let fear isolate them. They were chained, but not empty. When land appeared again, it was not celebrated. This land did not know their names, their drums, or their gods. They were sold like tools, scattered like ashes. Sewa was sent to a plantation where the sun punished and the night offered no rest. His hands, once proud, bled daily, but he watched, learned, waited. Abeni was taken elsewhere. Sewa never saw her again, but he carried her last word with him like a hidden blade. Remember. Years passed. Some ran and were caught. Some ran and vanished into legends. Some fought in ways that could not be seen, breaking tools, slowing work, teaching children forbidden songs. Sewa taught the young ones how to shape metal again, even with poor tools. He told them stories of Kobiri, of drums, of freedom not as a dream, but as a stolen truth. He would say, "They took our bodies, but they did not make us." Long after Sewa's hands could no longer lift iron, long after the fort by the sea crumbled, long after ships stopped coming, the story did not end. It lived in rhythms hidden in new music, in words passed down through generations, in strength that refused to explain itself. The drums of Kobiri never truly died. They changed. And even now, if you listen carefully to the sea, to the wind, to the silence between heartbeats, you can hear them, still calling, still remembering.